afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Holotny Ferma. Winter here between, in the west, Dullahan fighting for the Soviet Union. For the 65th Mechanized Brigade going up versus OOK or OOK, fighting here for the Wehrmacht, for the Reich. For the Panzergrenadier Division Brandenburg. And we've got here shot army, anti-infantry, armored assault tactics, by which I'm referring to him as ounce, because otherwise I'm just going to say ook at some point, and then I'm just going to ruin everything. So, for ounce here we got Festung support, Blitzkrieg, and German mechanized. We also got bulletins here for machine guns, Panzergrenadiers, and, well, more machine guns. So, that's an approach, alternating double pioneers into MD42 there, where Dullahan's going for double engineers, setting up a special rifle command quickly and following up with conscripts. So both sides here going for something a bit less than the usual. Not too unusual though, but nothing so far. But there we go. Now Ernst here, stepping a bit outside the usual boundaries, going for double pioneers and double MG42s, grabbing a lot of territory and then securing it with machine guns. So this could be a bit more interesting, in particular, again, noting he's got bullets to make them reload fast, which notes also makes them move faster between windows, and something to make them gain veterancy faster as well. And we got barbed wire going up here pretty quickly for Ernst up north as well. Looks like he's already fortifying the area, planning to fight here from the northern viewpoint. Very interesting, very interesting. MG42 following up there for the Wehrmacht, lugging that heavy MG there with its tripod. Usually each company would have platoon there with a few heavy machine guns and some mortars in it. Little fun fact there. But there goes MG40, and he goes for third pioneer. Now this is pretty unusual for a Wehrmacht play there, really, from Ernst. Dullahan there following up with some Strafniki, so certainly going for a mix of infantry there to deal with his fascist opponent. Pioneers are done wiring off. MG42 remaining here, covering up this area. Next, moving on. Third pioneers got their roundings going for both viewpoints here very aggressively, whereas we're seeing Dullahan going for both victory points and others taking a bit more steadily, also going for the central munitions. And we got more barbed wire here. He's basically sort of trying to make it so his opponent can't rush to the building directly, and for that matter easily maneuver around the building and the MG42 inside it. So that's actually some good work there. Very few players actually sort of try to prepare buildings ahead, you know, with barbed wire, so when it's there, it's much easier to defend, because right here, with this amount of barbed wire, it's going very difficult for the opponent to rush the building and the MG42 inside it. It could, you know, also, and probably will, lay down some barbed wire around here to ensure further angles, and perhaps also a bit here or something here. I mean, anything to make it harder for opponents just easily move about could make this building a lot easier to defend with a single MG42. So it's nice to see someone actually trying to do something there with it. We'll of course have to see how it works out ultimately, and of course ultimately, I mean, if the opponent really pulls in enough resources, it's not going to matter too much, but still, it could just be enough. Got a bit of shooting up engineers versus pioneers. Pioneers need to clear and deal there with the engineers, while the engineers are rushing into the conscript maximum this building. Stuff moving in on the 542. Pioneers moving in, pushing away there. Good work, good Arbeit, and engineers forced over for the pioneers down south. Lots of action. Pioneers flanking in versus engineers, and we got tech up here for Ernst as well. We got additional Strafniki there from Dullahan. My apologies there. And Pioneers didn't need years, conscript going for the cut-off point. Good work there, good work there. Ernst here might be extending a bit much versus Dullahan at the moment, and Dullahan does seem to be taking advantage, but there you go, MG42 opening up here. Going for the victory point instead, not going for the cut-off point. Interesting manoeuvre there by Dullahan. Getting the southern victory point. So far we're seeing here that Ernst is quickly grabbing a nice chunk of the map. In particular, he's got both viewpoints. If you now were to sort of rush ahead with some tech there, he could definitely give Dullahan, I think, a good scare. Dullahan following up here the support weapon Campanier. Interesting, probably following up some support weapons, perhaps to deal with some of the more dug-in positions, and for that matter, prepared positions here by Ernst. Pioneers under fire here from the Strafniki with SVT-40s, constantly under fire from the MG42. Suppressed down south, we got Pioneers taking losses from another Strafniki unit. There we go, Strafniki unit. But again, they can't just rush past it, immediately get through here. They have to stay out in the open in front of the MG42, and that, since the barbed wire does give Ernst here quite an advantage. There we go, getting pinned down, constantly moving about there. There we go, forced away, and again, still, you know, I mean, again, this is where, you know, perhaps a barbed wire here would have been quite of help there, and he's apparently worried here that Dullahan has a Molotov. In this case, he doesn't, so in this case, a bit of mind games which worked out for Dullahan. Had he not retreated there, Dullahan's conscript there would probably have been suppressed, since again, the barbed wire would have made them a lot harder for them to maneuver about and pass the MG42 inside the building. So pretty damn close there, but in this case, mind games won out there versus Ernst and his MG42 crew. Still nice to see there again some barbed wire. We got mines here, good work there from Dullahan, noting by doubling, he sort of quickly set it down, wasting no time there. And we got a maximum on the way here for Dullahan to help him hold territory. Like to make a nice company up, going for Panzer Grenadiers and the Scout Car. I do think you could have that up sooner, to be honest. I had some Panzer Grenadiers and the Scout Car sooner, which could perhaps turn the engagement up here a bit more different, in particular than the Scout Car first. And there we go. He's really rushing out a lot of mines here now. Dullahan preparing the southwest here for further engagements with the fascists. Double pioneers in front and northwards, going for the south there with the double engineers, Rafnigi holding about there. Going for the fuel there it seems, and there you go, comes under fire from the pioneers and the MG42. Scout car there arriving, like the Panzerspielwagen, going for the southern fuel there. Very good play there from both sides to a certain extent. Now, of course, there's a more defensive prepared element there from outside, or at least we've seen signs of it. Of course, the question is it something you can actually keep up? And there you go, more mines. Dullahan quick to lay down a lot of mines there, and there we go. Panzer Grenadiers ready here for Ernst, and the Brandenburger Panzer Grenadier Division formed out of the Brandenburgers, well, battalions, regiment, whatever those special operations troops that the Germans had for infiltration and whatnot. But basically, after a certain point, the German army decided they weren't really worth it and just formed an intra-regular Panzer Grenadier Division. Fun fact, the MG42 holding up, Pioneers actually holding up there, not the MG42, but I figured the MG42 will know. Going there slowly up here, trying to grab the fuel point while they're being crushed by the Scout car. Strafnigi taking apart the Pioneers there. Panzer Grenadiers nowhere near Swornstedt, they're heading southwards here. Of course, we could soon get another Panzer Grenadiers, what you wanted. There you go. Penal troops under heavy fire from the 222, like the Panzerspielwagen, hunting down the communists. Yeah, how do you like that, Ivan? There we go, Panzers immediately pushing away the engineers. Do we have more mines? Yes, indeed, we do have plenty of mines in this area. In fact, we got several mines here. Quite a few mines there from Dullahan, not wasting a moment. 42 heading outwards. Fully prepared namely 42 back in the building there, because that's a pretty good position. Of course, you'll need more barbed wire now, but of course you might be pushing for instead here. I mean, if you can hold both northern victory points and the fuel point, he's actually in a pretty sort of stable position there. And that'll certainly give him more time to just bleed out Dullahan. In fact, though, he's actually currently bleeding out. And then part he's trying for him so far, at least sort of trying to hold a nice chunk of the map there. Oh, good lord. Panzers are wiped by a mine. That's 30 munitions, wiping out 340 manpower in one go. South charge there for the Scout car, almost got it. Pioneers heading in northwards. Pioneers thinking about there with the MG42 supporting. And we got Strafnigi, or shock troops out here for Dullahan to support the Mechanized Brigade. Charge against the fascist positions. This is these repairs, by the way. And another unit wiped out there by the mine. That's 60 munitions, taking out about 540 manpower in a matter of minutes. Huge losses right there for that. Huge losses. And that's not something you don't usually overcome. But still, I mean, he's also overextending rather aggressively. So his next set, of course, even then. I mean, mines have been changed here with the patch. It basically makes them more reliable in a sense. It also gives them more capability for actually wiping units again. And the Wehrmacht's basically the one that's suffering the most from this, because again, they've got the smallest units. So minesweepers are probably more than ever now deeply vital for the Wehrmacht. Of course, in this case, of course, Ernst realised that pretty quickly afterwards and does not take Dullahan lightly anymore in that regard. So, of course, that's good there for Dullahan. I mean, those minis again paid off nicely. Got the M14 in a pretty bad position, though. And quickly overwhelmed here by the Russians. Which is, again, it's partly, I mean, he's really being greedy. He tries to hold as much as he can with his sort of smaller force. He needs a half-track with these more scout cars to really make this work. He needs more mobile elements. The MG42 should just be there to sort of hold strong points and probably sort of favoured around, you know, the northern two victory points and the fuel point there, while a more mobile force then tries to hold the south, but never too seriously either. Because otherwise, I mean, he's going to be holding a lot of territory. This gives Dullahan more, well, ease, because then Ernst's force is also more spread out, meaning it's not very concentrated, and Dullahan concentrates in one area. He can actually end up doing a lot of damage unless he runs straight into the MG42s. So it's a rather risky proposition here for Ernst if he's not careful. And right now we're seeing Dullahan here partly again taking advantage of the march while striking forward pretty aggressively. And MG42 again noting it wasn't very well set up there. He should have pulled a bit further back to recover sort of area better. And again, we're really seeing here that Ernst basically overextended very heavily, plus he's taking up pretty aggressively. I mean, had it not been for those mines, he might have been better able to hold it, but at the same time, you know, there's also one thing, he hasn't mined himself at all. He's got 180 munitions there floating about. He could have done something to at least minimize again. And if you're going to play that aggressively, I would say mines are going to be a requisite there to at least sort of help some of the units hold. For example, it might have been easier for them before to hold. Had there been a minefield guarding the way towards it from the front. But you got a half track there on the way, cancel the Panzer Grenadiers. And now we're seeing here Dullahan just really pouring through the cracks here of Ernst's initial offensive. Panzer moving in there, dealing with the engineers. Also we got Blitzkrieg here for Ernst, again very offensive, very aggressive doctrine. Not necessarily what meshes in the best of what we sort of initially did is grab a lot of territory. Blitzkrieg in that sense can't help him hold that out. Of course have to see what happens next here. And half track out. He's immediately upgrading here with the flame projectors, increasing its anti-infantry firepower. Not bad, not bad. Pack 40 way to deal with enemy armor, and we do see here that the tank chain command up there from Dullahan. And still could do with some mines, and there we go, finally laying down some mines himself. Can't help but feel it's a bit too late. And again, if you're going aggressive and then has to sort of switch over to defensive, you need mines. I mean, otherwise, again, there's no way you could really hold that much of Holotny Thermal Winter this early on into the game that easily, unless your opponent isn't the smartest in the world. But there you go, Panzer shredding the engineers out in negative cover. Taking a lot of damage there, sweeping out the mines there. Not entirely sure why I chose this particular spot to lay down S mines, but I'm guessing it was to deny cover. Telemines going down there. Telemines could, by the way, also be used as well, they could be triggered in a matter of ways, including basically being remotely detonated, but they could also be used as timed weapons. So, little fun fact there about the telemines. Pushing in, it's getting halted by the MD-42, just tearing into the there you go, Flammpanzerwagen, burning away, there you go, Satchel charge again, D-42 forcing away. Wow, that didn't do anything, apparently Dullahan managed to misthrow that one. Sergei, don't do that again, waste of state material. Look, it's shot. And there you go, T-70 rushes ahead. Going straight off the Flammpanzerwagen, Pack 40 here setting up, we got the 2-2 shooting in. And then drives straight into the telemine. And kaput. So that was a small bit of relief there for Ernst. He pretty quickly knocked out a light tank there. But telemines, you know, also cost a bunch more. There again, he's got Panis being hunted down by shock troopers, engineers following up on the Panzer here, needs some support. Flammpanzerwagen needs to rush in there, but he's a bit late there, getting additional Panzer Grenadiers fuel-wise, struggling a bit. I mean, again, he had to a nice initial start, but it didn't really keep up with it, partly again due to those initial mind games right here with that MD-42, and again, not retreated, things would have looked a lot more differently, I think. But there you go, troops again, Flammpanzerwagen covering up. And there we go, unleashing a volatile jet of fire. Panzer doing what they can, and there you go, quick grenade off, and there you go, more fire, burning through the trees and the snow. Shock troop was forced away. That Flammpanzerwagen is already paying itself in quite nicely. But how quickly things change. I mean, he again was so very aggressive, now he's very much in the back for against Dullahan. Could easily be throwing in heavy mortars and easily go for some submachine gun upgrades there for his, well, one counter squad so far. Up to, well, this one. Although victory points wise, Dullahan is very much in the lead, and again, he needs to sort of, you know, get some victory points there for a longer period of time. You got a medic bunker up there. Needs to get that Flammpanzerwagen in a more supportive position of the advanced Panzers, particularly since out negative cover. He needs something there to help them versus Russian infantry. Come on, Ernst, get it vorwärts. But he's not moving it. For some reason, he's not moving up the Flammpanzerwagen to support the Panzer Grenadiers. Instead, allowing them to take several easy hits, then he moves it. Bit sluggish reaction there, I think. Bit sluggish. There you go, T-70 arrives, so. Oh dear. Almost got the Flammpanzerwagen there, but looks like the prey escapes Dullahan's grasp there. Getting victory in the process, 7 kills. And then moves in the Panzer straight to 9 side 5 of the T-70. Not entirely sure there what Ernst was thinking, but needs to retreat the Russian Panzer Grenadiers right away. They're low on health, they're very low on health. Got Panzer Zip paying perhaps on the assault. We got a Maxim coming here. I don't think Dullahan's going to be as easily scared. Not entirely sure what happened there. Some explosions here and there. Oh, smoke, and he's pushing through the gap made by the Flammpanzerwagen, but straight into the Flammpanzerwagen. Nicely done there. T-70 strikes, we've still got a pack 40 this race support. That's the second light tank out here for Dullahan. Not afraid there's something to push in. And we also know he's actually got a fuel can, so he's really trying now to push for the fuel advantage over Ernst there, trying to get what little fuel advantage he managed there briefly in the early game and build up his own. So good play there by Dullahan. More foresighted. Also a bit of reconnaissance, trying to spot out where Ernst is positioned with his units and sort of trying not to attack straight into where Ernst is most prepared at the moment. Getting a Sturmgeschütz, good. Getting additional pioneers to replace the ones lost, also good. Bit more of an unusual force competition. The only Panzergrenadiers, pioneers, and MG42s largely in the pack. Most players would have gone for a lot of grenadiers, but the Panzergrenadiers certainly can also be cost effective as long as you don't run into mines. That really ruined things here for Ernst. Again, they've not lost that first Panzergrenadier as well. Things should have been looking a lot more favourable for Ernst. And there we go. PPG-841s to hand up from the conscript, and just will progress more larger Soviet formations were actually just fully equipped with submachine guns. Fun fact there. Comes down to fight, she's supporting, pack 40 nearby, Sturmgeschütz almost ready, Flammpanzerwagen controls moving sort of flush them out. T-70 moving in. And there he goes, using all the gaps to try and move about. He keep Ernst guessing as where the T-70 is actually going to hit. And there you go, smoke screen, clearing up here before the tank attacks as well. Good work. Charging in with the shock troopers versus the Flammpanzerwagen. We got the Stroop though. Should have a pin machine gun grenade off of the Panzers, almost wiping them. Ah, scheisse. Smoke screen ends up being their saving grace there. And there you go, Stroop fires for Deutschland. Helmut goes in for the hunt there on the Soviet tiny tank. Bit risky here, but there we go. T-70 completely ruined. We got a heavy mortar out here, by the way, for Dullahan, and it's Matilda versus Ernst troops. And Ernst now really needs to push ahead. We got the Flammpanzerwagen moving in here. Should deal with the Maxim, deal with the Maxim. Veterans to flee, by the way, popping smoke. Just attack from in the smoke. You attack around. Remember, the Flammpanzerwagen actually has quite a bit of range there, but does not either way. He needs to push out now. He needs to use the pioneers to grab as much territory, clearing any mines, allowing his forces to push ahead, and he push back Dullahan. He needs to be more aggressive at the moment. He's just holding back a bit too much there. If necessary, get some more pioneers with mines because of something. Dullahan, in the meanwhile, he's actually further checked up. He's gone for the mechanized armor company there. Could add in some armor there with a heavy caliber. Got a field gun there to help deal with the Sturmgeschütz, the scout car, and the Flammpanzerwagen. In that sense, Ernst does have a more mechanized force with a bit of armor there. Still push vorwärts, vorwärts, schnell. And in that sense, I do think, again, he's trying to sort of seize too much rather than just, going for what's going to sort of, at least short term, have the more best effect. The North, again, 2 victory points, 1 fuel point. I mean, it's a bit of a bad spell, I was saying, resources on the map, but generally, North Holotny Family wins is generally better. I mean, you can sort of try and hold this and that, but again, it does leave you a lot more stretch out on a longer point of time, and again, makes it easier for your opponent to attack, and that's always something you have to be careful about. Send around here and then for it to be good, but of course smoke grenade down, needs to shift away there, or get the Flammpanzerwagen, but that's still being repaired. Panzergrenadier needs to get moving. For that. Got the Stroop here supporting, but only in order to find armor. Needs to sort of allow it to shoot an infantry, and of course get the machine gun. Field gun moving ahead here for Dullahan, and we got a T-34 60 ramming, and he's going to deal with the Panzergrenadiers. Flammpanzerwagen has shifted down southwards, so deal with the Russian troops, in particular the shock troopers will be a no match there for the double flamethrowers. Almost got the engineers, but there you go, good hit, mortar hit there on Ernst Panzergrenadier. We got the T-34 slowly coming in. Of course, he's going to have to pack 40 to help deal with that, so Ernst will be badly prepared for that. At least not too badly. Flammpanzer again would be good now to strike up north, cleared out. And of course, the pioneers will be clearing out any mines because he knows they're there. And for some reason, he goes straight here for the heavy mortar. He's got some opportunities again to clear out the north, and but no, I've got a field gun there. Missed that one. So that would be slightly reckless advice. So of course, he could flank in with a Panzergrenadiers and clear it out if he's paying attention here. Not sure if he is. Not sure he is. Still, he's got a nice chunk here, but again, it's rather loosely defended to a certain extent. Some more mines will be doing good. Then again, he might be saving up now for the stupid close air support. And there goes straight into the field gun here, popping smoke. Good work. Got the MD-42 here, might want to move up this MD-42 support up here. Panzer's pushed away by advancing shock troopers. And the Maximus finally forced away, opening up for further pushes here in the north with infantry. If Ernst actually goes forward, he's getting a third Panzer squad there. He's going for a lot of heavy infantry there. Bit rarer to see, but not bad to see, as long as Ernst uses it correctly though. But it's time here for the mid-game analysis. Counter chasing Ernst has done more damage, more kill-wise, so in that sense again, you know, while Dullahan might have gained initial advantage there with the mines, after Ernst's initial advantage, they're pushing it with the Pioneers and the MD-42. I mean, you know, things are stabilising a bit. Army value-wise, Ernst is quickly building it. He's got the more Panzergrenadiers, the more armour, vehicles, he's doing a lot of damage with it, doing some damage. Dullahan has lost 2 T-70s amongst other things, plus the Strafniki have also been annihilated rather soundly. I imagine the Flammpanzerwagen amongst other things, plus the Panzergrenadiers have a hand in that. So that's not too bad here. Resource float wise, rather equal, nothing close too much, and sort of points out though, we are noting here though, that while Dullahan is suffering a bit, he's still maintaining overall good map control there for a nice chunk of the map, and again, that does give him some advantage there. And in fact, right now, there's not too much of a difference, then again, there is to a certain extent. But either way, victory points wise, there is also where the situation is much more fortuitous for Dullahan at the moment. I mean, he's got 428 versus 121 there for Ernst, so that does give him some leeway in certain senses, but at the same time it also means, you know, Ernst doesn't have so much under certain circumstances. As for Ernst, he needs to, you know, shore things up here. He needs to sort of set up a more proper strategy for defending some of those victory points. I would suggest a machine gun bunker to sort of hold the southern one. Also machine gun sort of get up there. In fact, get out. I mean, note here, it's not really doing much as guard here. I mean, he could, I suppose, get a bunker, but also get up an MD-42 to guard the northern point. I mean, he's really intent on sort of holding these two. He needs machine gun bunkers at the very least, sort of trying to hold them. Otherwise, he's going to be quickly sort of be harassed. And again, it also means spreading out his forces too thin. In that sense, you know, he's going to need a reserve that can quickly react to an actual strike there from Dullahan, allowing him to also react in a more, well, fully fashioned form. Otherwise, caches would be a good idea for Ernst, maybe some fuel, but otherwise munitions. I mean, in this case, to close air support would be a good idea to sort of help him defend, because again, that way he could quickly call in some anti-tank support versus any armor concentration there from Dullahan, so that wouldn't be too bad an idea. Otherwise, to sort of consider that for Ernst. Otherwise, maybe some light artillery in the form of mortar, of course. Well, he doesn't have the infantry company, but that's not exactly expensive to get, so a few mortars could perhaps also help out there just a bit, to at least lay down some smoke screens here and there, and otherwise just bombard some of Dullahan's positions. Otherwise, more mines would be good. S-mines, telemines, whatever kinds of mines. And again, in that sense, more munitions is good. Otherwise, Ernst does need to be more aggressive and more pushy at times once he's actually defeating one of Dullahan's waves, because that's really the point there. He does seem to sort of slack off a bit and just about, you know, twiddling his thumbs a bit too much. So they're just trying to take as much there away from Dullahan. Dullahan needs to sort of build up his armor. I mean, he's got 1 T-34, but he's really going to sort of get benefits once he gets 2 or 3 of them. That way he can sort of really strike at Ernst and do a lot of damage, roll over his Stoogs and his light vehicles and the likes. More mines from Dullahan, of course, is also a good thing. And he also needs some more infantry. He's rather low on at the moment, so some conscripts further equipped with some machine guns I think could be a good idea. Otherwise, perhaps additional shock troopers, or of course, more penal troops. Otherwise, more infantry will be needed. And of course, more armor at the same time. And he definitely also needs to keep, you know, striking Ernst where he's weak. You know, to keep looking for those weak spots again, because Ernst at the moment is constantly overextending himself, and again that does make it easy for Dullahan as long as he keeps his wits about him to sort of strike and sort of overwhelm Ernst locally several points there. He's by, you know, in some cases Ernst having a lot more potent units. Again, he can't hold everything, at least not very well, and again that's currently again what Ernst needs to avoid and Dullahan needs to exploit. So of course, if Dullahan can basically keep it up, he can probably win this. If Ernst can mitigate this, he might have a good chance of winning. But again, it's going to rather come down to that. Can Ernst set up a proper, more solid defense with a proper reserve, or will he sort of keep extending, allowing Dullahan to sort of roll over him several times here and there? So, let's return to the fight and see what actually happens. Probably throwing a machine gun in the Stug, as always, and he's getting a second Stug. Good, good. Stugs work better than pairs, but now again, note what's happening. Once more, he's leaving the south extremely thinly defended while he's moving anything towards the north, and again, it's happening at a rather slackish pace. So, I mean, he's rather taking some heavy risks there. He's actually got, again, 3 Panzer squads, including 1 Victory too. 2-2 leading the way here. Stug not supporting, Flampanzerwagen not supporting, a lot of things not supporting at the moment. And again, there's bases and pioneers and MD-42 holding here. At least he should lay down some mines. Even opening up the 2-2 got scam, but there goes Stug flying back with his 75 with a Sturmkanone. Need that scout cover repair. Flampanzerwagen needs to strike here again. He should perhaps consider acting in the south to help the defenders against attacking Russian infantry. Always going for the victory point there.
Stug 3 ready to deploy.
Second Stug there arriving for the Panzergrenadier Division. Whereas Dullahan's moving up more equipment here to resist any German offensives in the north. And quickly once more, Ernst is scattering about there, leaving no real concentration at any point. There you go, mine prepared here. Good work, large mine phylactery covering on the southern victory point. Good work, good work. Flampanzer moving in, maximum the church here, but there we go. That Flampanzer is going to put a stop to that very quickly. Almost clearing up the maximum there, and there we go, wiped out entirely. T-34 striking in, they're taking hit from the Stug. No, actually no Stug there. But there you go, almost got it, Panzer, they're taking heavy damage. Need to retreat, schnell, Rückzug, Dieter, get out of there. Why is not retreating? Panzer's got wiped out, why are you not retreating, Ernst? Why didn't you retreat? That was senseless. Another T-34 arriving, Stug's Flampanzer they scattering them about though. Too much trying to happen in one spot, and there we go, Stug rushed in on its own, with no clear idea what's waiting ahead of it. And there we go, Flampanzer moving in, needs to get behind the field gun there. No, pulls back there, allowing it to retain and line of fire there a little longer. Could probably rush to Pack 40 now being moved in here. Looks like Ernst is suffering a slight panic attack, and there we go, Flampanzerwagen abandoned. It could still be captured if it could all be grabbed by the Russians. T-34 moving in, Dullahan pushing his own luck. Dullahan by the way, very low in infantry there. Only a shock troop and some engineers and a bit others, so this is getting very close here. If right now Hans plans this correctly, he could actually deliver a winning blow against Dullahan, but once more, when push comes to shove, Ernst dithers. Panzers could try and rush in here from the south, get out the field gun and deal with things, but nothing's happening. He's just holding back here. Quick grenade there, forcing the Panzers out of the church, getting them back in there quickly. Getting more Panzer Grenadiers while other Panzer Grenadiers are standing about doing nothing. And again, if he hadn't lost those other Panzer Grenadiers insensibly, he might have had more pushing power. There we go, not entirely sure why Dullahan's moving up here to the broad side of the church, but more of the Panzers can actually hit him back there. That does strike me as a tactically not wise decision there against the Panzer Grenadiers. Actually, pretty much just makes it easier for the Panzer Grenadiers to deal with the shock troopers. So back there to 3 escorts of Panzer Grenadiers here. Ernst is just constantly throwing in the Wehrmacht's finest infantrymen into this battle. With the best equipment, he's probably managed to scrounge about and perhaps in some cases steal away from Wehrmacht depots. And there you go, he's actually got a cache up there. Good work, but still, why isn't he pushing? Why isn't he pushing? He's got such a larger force here than Dullahan, but you wouldn't think so, the way he's playing. And he's got assault troops, he's got assault guns, he's got scout cars, pioneers of the mine troops, he's got flame for a half truck, he's got a large assault force. Yet he doesn't play it like it. Come on, Ernst, put some effort into it. Finally, adding a machine gun there, by the way, noting he's not ordering it to shoot it in, he's allowing it to, and there go figure moving up, T-34 moving in, Stug needs to fall back, and Stug needs to fall back, scheisse! Stug almost knocked out there. Target weak point, his only chance of perhaps saving it, but then again the figure might get it. Why isn't he getting it out of there? Why is... There we go, Pack 40 gets the T-34, Stug knocked out there, Ernst fumbled. Got a large enforcer infiltrating behind Ernst's line of sight there. Good work, Panzer was doing surprisingly little. Again, even the MD-42 is just retaining a position where nothing is happening. He should be pushing it forward to either support his offensive operations or to hold more active area. Instead, they're having a tea party. Troops striking the south there. Panzer's opening up. Slowly closing on Betcha 3. Defense moving south, we're going to clear out the minefield. Pack 40's nowhere to be seen. Stug nowhere to be seen either. Got a command tank out there that fails. Panzerwagen might be able to stiffen Ernst's backbone here and lead him to some kind of actual victory here, perhaps. Victory point still not being good. I mean, he's bleeding Dullahan slightly there, but Dullahan still got a huge lead there. Command tank turning up. There's shock troopers, conscripts are hanging about. Good hit there, good hit. Almost got wiped, almost. Another loss there again. Dullahan still a slow shot on units. Again, 51 population versus 86. Yet, map-wise, it doesn't look like it. Again, Ernst needs to get some fire into him. Much too timid, much too passive here. Conscripts going to get to pass. Need to open up, well, they're not at range. There you go, he might still get the conscripts there. Out in the open. Pencils RBT 2. Damn close there, T-54 needs to pull back there. Dullahan can soon get himself another tank. Going for the victory point again, and there's nothing supporting the Pioneers, grabbing it. I mean, he's sort of constantly, you know, shifting his forces about without any sort of real focus, any real concentration here. And, I mean, most of the time, you know, when he focuses it, he just doesn't do anything with it. There's no real offensive momentum anywhere. He could easily just roll across most of the map here at the moment versus Dullahan, but just doesn't get anywhere. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there in Ernst's head. Getting another T-34 there from Dullahan. Shock troopers heading out there for the motherland. Quickly, comrades, we must slay the fascists. Do not worry, our body armor shall protect us. But I thought it could only protect us versus 9mm pistol bullets. Just imagine it's that they're shooting at us. You'll do fine, you'll do fine. And there you go, quick smoke screen there. Nice reaction there from Dullahan MB42 opening up. Good hit there, good hit. One's going to do striking northwards, no anti-tank support, no Pack 40, no Stuk. Earlier those conscripts ran into quite a bit of resistance there, and there we go. T-34 76 Marine again, the Panzer is rather exposed, there's no anti-tank, no Stuk, no nothing, there we go, they're setting it up, but it could already end up being too late here. Ooh, target weak point! Ah, messed up there. He actually pushed it too early. He should have waited a bit there, been a bit more patient. Then second T-34 moving in. Almost got the T-34 there. Almost 52 on the Pack 40 as well. Ernst here could go for another Stuk. Otherwise, again, get some bangers up, prepare some defences of a more permanent kind. And there you go, another Stuk there arriving for Ernst. And the Panzer going to be a Division Brandenburg. There we go, venture to the Sturmgeschütz. Now he's sort of getting back map there. Good strike here against a multi with his command tank. Panzer supporting. Looks like Ernst is somehow getting some momentum in. But why is not the flamethrower half-deck supporting it? Could be doing a lot more of the things. There we go. T-34 ramming the command tank. Has Dullahan go mad? Quickly dealt with there. Mine goes off. Almost knocking out the command tank. T-34 field gun moving in there. No support. No support. Stuks are nowhere to be seen. There we go. Kaput.
A Panzer. The Sturmgeschütz is
now he's rushing his Pack 40 down to help there again. Just keep it up there, Ernst. It's a static weapon. Use it like that. I mean, he keeps, you know, he's reacting more than he's acting, if you will, and that does leave Dullahan with initiative several times out here throughout the match. I mean, he's got two Stuks. Why not just keep the Pack 40 up north alongside most of us again, which he's pulling back there? Why not keep the Flammpanzerwagen up there? Something. He said he's seesawing about here on the map. Scout there goes in for conscripts. Quick anti-tank mate there though. Might knock out his 222, his Lucky Punches B-Wagon. Not looking good there for Lieutenant Gruber inside it with his leaky tank. And there you go, looks like he's going to get wiped out there. Two slow popping smoke. And of course retreat, Panzer's moving in, while most of the others are standing about here. And he's got 2 squads there doing nothing when he could be pushing, he could be applying pressure to Dullahan. Instead he's bleeding out on victory points. And again, the Pack 40 is doing nothing, why not keep it up north? I mean, he's just playing into Dullahan's hands here.
Securing our territory. Infantry can march double time at your command. Schützen here. Half-track ready. The enemy is taking our territory.
Panzer is in a bit of a spot of trouble. Need to retreat them because again nothing's moving up support. We've got Panzer flanking in, but straight into a grenade here. Double Stooks not moving up to support there, they're just doing nothing. I'm not entirely sure why Ernst is so absolutely slow in reacting to what's going on here. I mean, again, particularly he's playing reactively. I mean, it just makes even less sense. It takes him half a minute or two to sort of get anything moving up there to where there's anything actually happening. At the same time, though, Dullahan could, you know, display a bit more sort of caution in some senses. He also is making some mistakes. He could smoke a bit more from time to time, and also perhaps be less overextending with some of his forces as well. But he's lucky to an extent, and he's playing against someone here like Ernst, because otherwise I'm pretty sure Dullahan would be punished a lot harder. I mean, he'd be flanking a lot more with his tanks, for example. Get, say, for example, 3 T-34s and hit out from any flank there, and I think could actually knock him up pretty solidly.
We are losing a sector.
Now we got the Stooks here. Lampound's moving about there. Scout coupling back for repairs. Panzer saying back there, we got including the veteran, the fleet Panzer is definitely amongst Ernst's most precious assets on this battlefield at the moment. Machine guns down them, good. Got another command tank out there. We've also gone for a flak Panzer or a regular Panzer IV here.
Our opponents are seizing the sector.
On deal with the shock troopers here with the flank Panzer wagon. Burn them out. Grenade, they're wiping out the MD-42, that's going to hurt a bit there. Can improve with some Panzer leaders or pioneers. Command tank striking for the fatherland up north. Hauptmann Fritz leads the way there against the communists. Start coming up there. Stuke supporting, actually able to support here, but where's the other Stuke? Where's the other Stuke? Ramming the command tank again! Why does he keep doing that? Where's the second Stuke? Oh wait, pretty much made the first command tank a bit of a hit target. All up to the Stuke there in front of the field gun. Trying to go with the command tank, see if everything that he can. Take Stuke moving in. Good work, good work. T-54 needs to pull back here before it's lost here. Of course, at the same time, Dullahan is getting a replacement. T-34-76 already. Field gun needs more support here. Stuke continues to go back there. Almost 52, almost 52. He might be able to get it. He might be able to get it. At the same time, he got support on unguarded. Flampanzer Wagner and Panzer could wipe map. They could actually strike in here behind Dullahan and do a lot of damage. And another squad they're wiped up by mines. He's also lost effectively 3 Panzer Grenadiers. Oh no. We need to stop taking those mines lightly, but I wonder where the Panzer Grenadiers got wiped out. Burning about there with the Flampanzer Wagen, getting some kills in there. Down to 1 T-34, quick play with infantry losses. Still need to push it, grab some victory points there, but Ernst just keeps going defensively here. He never pushes sort of really seriously. I mean, the centre's open, the north is more or less open, yet Ernst just pulls back.
We have been assigned fresh Panzer Grenadiers.
Moving up the Pack 40 here, which is probably the one thing he shouldn't be pushing in this is low on health. Yet that's what he does.
Only 50 points remaining.
He could be dealing with the T-34 using Stooks, but the Stooks are doing nothing. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what's going through Ernst's head. At the moment, he just strikes me as peculiar. I mean, it's like he's really unsure as how to defend this map and how to hold the territory. Quickly, they get the 2-2-2, knocks it out. Good work there, good work. Stu's rolling in. Machine guns and main guns, victory point being decaptured up north here, getting suppressed by the Maxim. He's finally moved out his MD42. Took him long enough. Stuff being repaired. Need to get that flank around repaired as well, by the way. Panzer's moving up, about to try and get off a bundle grenade there. So, it looks like the Maxim's pulling away there. And there we go, Vetch in the stream, gets another T-34 knocked out there. Dullahan needs to be more careful with his T-34 76s. He does seem to be taking the Stoops rather lightly. Bit of engine damage there. Another fuel catch probably might be an idea here for Dullahan, and perhaps more shock troopers or another heavy mortar. I mean, there's certainly several paths here Dullahan could go versus Ounce, though continue bleeding out and victory points. Still having a hard time, you know, figuring out perhaps you just go for the 2 northern victory points, because again that would mean a lot less to actually have to defend.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. We are down to 25 points. Do not let them defeat us.
Context moving back. Right, then before through their way from Ernst. Good work, Dullahan. Good work, combat. It is now the Soviet states. There we go, pushing away in the Maxim. Go for the other victory point. Schnell. Use some of those vehicles more aggressively. Again, he's just hanging back there. Going for a regular Panzer IV now. He could also continue using tactical movement to speed up the movement of his infantry, allowing to more quickly move towards the points here. He could also rush here, knock out the mortar, perhaps the field gun. He's got a lot of equipment to do so. But again, it is...
We are losing a sector.
Nothing's really happening. Stu flying away, another T-34 on the way for Dullahan.
Enemy is taking our territory.
Almost getting the shock to his wipe there with his command tank, but victory points not looking good. He's got control of no one. Dullahan's only got one, but still that does bleed out. Ernst there. Stu doing what he can, but the other one, Stu, he's still not supporting, he's not repairing it. Flampan doing nothing again. There's several elements of Ernst's force that keep on, you know, doing nothing. When they could be doing a lot of damage there to Dullahan, bleed him out further. And that's really giving Dullahan quite an advantage, because it means that while Ernst has a larger force, Dullahan is never overall meeting it, whereas Dullahan's pushing more of his forces against what a little of Ernst that's active.
I fear we are losing.
Down to 10 points here, not looking good for Dullahan. I mean, Ernst Dullahan is looking pretty good for.
We have lost a squad.
Panzer IV rushing in, T-34 forming in, field gun supporting. Ramming the Panzer IV, and command tank knocked out with field gun, veterans fleet. Duke moving in, but it's very much too late, and there we go. GG, game over. A loss here for Ernst, a victory for Dullahan. Dullahan, despite, you know, suffering against a bit of a more unorthodox Wehrmacht play, actually relies a lot on MG42s, Pioneers, and Panzer Grenadiers. The overall play away reasonably nicely. His T-34 plane needs more use, and if he's really going to attack head-on into Ernst, Dukes it's on several times, he should consider getting another mortar and then laying down some large smoke screens so the T-34 has more chance of actually getting close. Of course, the problem was basically the Dukes just keep blasting away at them alongside the pack once it was actually there, and that rather lets Dullahan suffering a lot more. So he needs to work it with his mortars to just lay down smoke screens if he really wants that to work. Otherwise, he needs to flank more with his T-34s and larger groups, sort of quickly do a lot of damage that way. But again, Ernst needs to learn how to defend, because that was a clear example here. Ernst has got no clue as to how to defend, or for that matter, how to sort of also, to a certain extent, you know, then switch towards attack. I mean, initially sort of was aggressive, then switched to the defense, and then for some reason it seems like something broke inside Ernst's head. He lost all capacity then to defend or attack, sort of wibbly wobbling about on the battlefield, never quite sure, not quite concentrating. And again, it was probably because Dullahan kept attacking here and there. Again, it made it harder for Ernst to defend, And there are also some good minds that also perhaps made him again. There was a lot of mind games in. Perhaps those rather got what gave Dullahan the edge. I mean, as on that previous match, Dullahan does know his mind games. But that's not to say, Ernst didn't have any options. I mean, as always, on a map like this, the victory points are so ridiculously close together, there's always the option to just grab those two and the fuel point. Hold that, for heaven's sake. But that never apparently crossed into Ernst's mind either. He just kept going for the two farthest away points and then spread his units out in such a way, he never really could hold them. And then when he had the option several times, he would never really attack. He just slightly, send out some units piecemeal while the rest of his force hang back. And again, that's not the way you actually take territory. You push ahead aggressively with everything, including MD-52s. You set up new defences, a new front line. You lay down mines and so on, but Ernst would just slightly push him ahead while the rest of his force did nothing. I mean, that was really wasteful as well there from Ernst. There's a lot there that Ernst can improve upon. It's clear he's got a decent strategic mind. Otherwise, his force composition was interesting but also potent. Good aggressive push. Tactically, again, why here was a good move. If he just done more with it, wasn't again pushed out there so easily by Dullahan's mind games. So again, there's clearly promise there in Ernst, but by Jove, he needs to figure out how to defend and how to attack. I mean, there's clearly some good thought in there, but he keeps fumbling about. Dullahan, on the other hand, again, needs to work a bit elements together better there. Try not to waste as many T-34s. Had Ernst played better, Dullahan could have been in a lot more trouble, but thankfully he wasn't. Also, he needs to keep up the mining a bit more in the game, maybe switch in some demo charges and the likes. And I think an HS-6 or maybe an H-25 would have helped versus Stooks alongside the T-34s. Okay, CoH2, I mean, a bit more elements there to Dullahan could have woven into his force. But overall, nicely played there by Dullahan, but not with his flaws. And again, Ernst shows promise, but, he needs to sort of display a bit more steel there and be less sort of thrown off by his opponent. And again, figure out how to defend and figure out how to properly attack and push, because, I mean, it seems like he knows how to attack, but he doesn't know how to push. I mean, attack's just there, but push is just really, meaning everything sort of across, just grabbing and carving out a nice chunk of the opponent's territory, and that's really where it seemed like Ernst just continued failing because he wasn't sure how to push. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gave you ideas for matches. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a new opinion or find some feedback in the comment section. This is Minefields. Cheers. Thank you for watching and hope to see you all another time. Bye.